So basically, in this session, I'll be walking through the quick introduction of the data science with R and what we'll be knowing at the end of the session. So in this, the main agenda would be like the what is a basic introduction of the topic, and what is a complete overview we have for the R programming, and also we'll be seeing the basic fundamentals. I guess everyone is new to the R programming, so we'll also see the basic fundamentals and also the simple working of R, and what is the current state of the R programming we have in industry, and and what is the evolution the programming we have in the outside and the education perspective, and what is the career path and the job opportunities we get with R programming. So introduction. So let's discuss on what is R programming and why actually we need the R programming, and what are the relevant packages and usage we have for this each of the and the R programming. What is the usages we have it in industry, and when is industry means that comes to the research and education everywhere, and why it is considered a very important tool, and what is the advantages we have for other analytics tool, and what is the key applications with the R programming. So before beginning with what is R programming, so the necessity to learn for the R programming, because analytics, the domain has been increasing every day, and then we also have the very competitive tools like SPSS, SAS, and we have advanced Excel, and most of the are able to handle the structured data. So, and R is one of the open source program where we can do the structured data analysis with respect to the statistical and also the machine learning perspective methods. So that's why reason, I mean, R is actually becoming very popular these days, and it is very definite and necessity to learn the R programming. So let us discuss what is exactly the R programming. So as it is nothing but the statistical and graphical programming language. So it generally looks like kind of scripting language. If you also aware of MATLAB, we have a similar interface as a MATLAB, and we do the scripting language where it is real time. We have the coding of the different inputs we give and what is the output we are getting, and also the code is compiled only we are running the the scripting command there. And also the R is most popular for the graphical and the statistical, because it has the major statistical methods functions involved there. When come to the graphical, it has multiple the plots, and we can do all kind of visualizations, very par with the the top programming tools we have it. And so before introduction of R, there is an R language, there is an S language. And so R is nothing but it's a dialect of S language, and it was developed at the Bell Laboratories. So it's in 1998. I mean, the J.M. Chambers. So they've actually developed our program at the Bell Laboratories. And it was actually written by the Ross Hick and Robert Gentleman at the University of Auckland, New Zealand. So this is just history about how actually R programming was started, and why actually we need the R programming. So as we know, I mean, it has a very faster computation. So let us say why it is actually faster computation of the basic example. Let's say you have the the data of an Excel sheet having, for example, 1,000 rows and 1,000 columns. We can do small kind of analysis like doing the arithmetic, or if you want to do any kind of pivot analysis with the Excel sheet. The same for the same operations which you are doing. We can even do with the R programming. It's a very less time, and it also helps a very faster computation. So it actually mimics lots of the Excel, whatever the functions we have it in the R programming language, and further saves us lots of time. And that is why it is actually helps us to do the faster computation. As again, we just discussed about the basic arithmetic or pivot analysis, but there is something way more a lot we can do with the R programming that also involves in machine learning, and also we do the data visualization. So when you do every function or every analysis, if you do it all, every thing, it is a very kind of faster computation we can see, and it has a better graphics for visualization. So we have visualization tools like the SPSS, we have the Tableau, and we also have the different tools right now coming into the market. But when we tell the better graphics means when you're doing any project for any industry or any client, we need to have the lots of customizations with our data. So this customization help us, to show the better visualization and on the data and get the better market. So that can be, market insights or any social networking insights, or if you want to get any industry, data insights. So they all should be, leveraged such a way that the insights are known and visualized in such a way that it can be translated in the business terms. So when you see the business terms translation, they require very precise graphs and plots required. So that's where our programming helps us, to understand each of the data points in the better graphically. Also, we can see in the data points perspective also, it actually shows in very precise way. So that is actually meant by the better graphics here. And it also has a multiple inbuilt packages. So if you see, we have the data, we work in the many data that can be Excel sheet, or also we need to work on the data which is coming from, many data lake, or that can be coming from many databases. So when we talk about the databases, that can be SQL, that can be Oracle database, that can be Hive database. So in order to quickly connect to any database, R has actually, built many packages. We can quickly handle that kind of data as well. And also we have any different file types, like that can be, JSON file type, or you can want to handle any text file. R is actually helps us, to handle that kind of data as well. And also if any encoding techniques are required, also R programming, help us to handle all the kinds of majority data. And this actually, helps us to leverage on any kind of data, which are actually working on the key business insights or anything. So that's where R is actually very edge when compared to other languages we have it. And again, it has an easy web integration. That is nothing but the R Shiny application we have it. So unlike, if you develop any program, any scripting language, we need also have an app development. There's a requirement of app development that we do in the front end programming, or we use any JavaScript or jQuery or, HTML, CSS for, to map your data points and to visualize your final data in the dashboard. Whereas in R, we actually have the inbuilt R Shiny, where you can easily integrate whatever data, what is the data analysis you're doing from R programming, and you can quickly see your insights in the R Shiny platform. And the reason R Shiny become very popular these days, because most of the industries, they were actually, trying to deploy their, at least the small applications, in the in-house applications, they were actually trying to visualize in the R Shiny itself, because this helps them to save lots of time when they're presenting to the business. So therefore, it is definitely very necessity for you to learn how actually R Shiny web integration is done, and how you're able to map all your data points. So in this way, you can avoid the time which is required for app development, and also it is required for your, if you're doing a similar program in Python, so there is no record of using Flask and, for the deployment of your current program. So that way, R Shiny can leverage the web integration for any of the application you're trying to build with the R program. It is also an open source and as a diverse community. So as we see any program we have, there is a definitely an community for which actually they keep working on the development of the program. And in that regard, R is, you can tell, as an edge, where it has a the vast community, where you get an everyday kind of the new packages which are actually helping us to solve many complicated programs with the kind of package they built it. So therefore, if you, there is not that much necessity for us to write a new function and develop that logic. So we have the open source community where you can get that inputs and take that libraries and install the packages in your current program, and you can utilize that library in your program, and you can try to work on that. So that way, R is a consistent open source and a diverse community, and it is profitable. So the reason it is profitable, because unlike other software, so the similar, so the data or the machine learning techniques which are working on the data in the MATLAB, we have it. So if you're working on a small startup or a small company, they might be not opting for the softwares like the MATLAB, or they might not opting for softwares like Tableau or SPSS. So they're very costly. And also, if you're working on any project on that particular software, it actually gives a very less amount of profit to the company when you're actually taking that business. So therefore company will not encourage to work on that kind of software. So here R is an edge because it will helps us not only to the open source programming, also this will help us to give lots of profit to the any industry, where they're able to do lots of in-house applications at a very less cost. And also it helps to develop more and more applications with the help of the diverse community we have for the R. So in this slide, let's discuss upon the R packages and what packages we have and how do we install them. So as we discussed, the community for the R is actually very vast, and there are lots of libraries of the code and functions of the package. So whenever you're writing or scripting your code in a R Studio or R platform, you need to install these packages in your current program so that you can use them. To install any packages, you can actually just write install.packages and the package name, and that actually download that package from the CRAN Studio, and it will helps us to use that package in our next program. So there is something called we call it as an R session. R session is nothing but it is the R console, we have it, and you can just type install packages there. And similarly, if you want to use the package, you can just call library and the package name, and that will add the package in your current program. So this actually how it helps us to use any package within R, and you can work on the package. So let's discuss a short packages briefly, and what actually we can do with the packages. So as we discussed, there are lots of libraries. So I am just putting up only very less packages here. So what we can do for the manipulation of the data points. So there is something called as dplyr, which actually helps us to rearrange, subsetting, and summarizing and joining data sets of you have the given data points. So let's say if you want to do select any columns. So when we have the data frame with the columns and rows, if you want to select particular columns, you can use the dplyr library, and you can use for the particular data frame. Or if you have two data frames or two tables, if you want to merge or if you want to join them, you can use the dplyr package for that. And similarly, we have other package called tidyverse. This actually helps us to import for the data import and visualization. If you want to do quick statistical visualization, the tidyverse which actually helps for you. And for the visualization of data, we have ggplot2. This is very prominently used in the R programming for the graphical representation and building the customized graphic plots. Whether if you want to do any linear regression plots or any bar graph or any histograms, or if you want to do any scatter plots, you can use ggplot2. And to load data, so as we discussed, we have many data points. We need to connect to many databases, and we need to fetch the data. So for that instance, for load data, we have one of the library called as ODBC. We actually use it very regularly to connect any data lake servers, and with that library you can actually call your particular SQL or Oracle server, and you can use that library and fetch the data for that given business problem. And also there is model data. Model data is nothing but where we actually use most number of machine learning models. So Carrot is a library which is used for training ML models, and also we have separate model name for each of the machine learning models. So when we mean each models means as you could be aware of, we have linear regression, logistic regression, we have the random forest or decision trees. So each of them have the different model library for that. So on that, one of the example is the random forest. So random forest library name is random forest, and we can apply for this random forest to the data. So this is a brief of the the packages we have, and here itself you can understand what is a key business problems we can solve with our data. And starting from the manipulation of the data to the model building, we're almost able to most of the things within this 4 or 5 packages itself. And what is the advantages of the learning R program? So as we discussed again, it's an open source language, we have it. So it's a definitely an age where we have the lots of freedom to explore most of the libraries and contribute to the R programming. And also we have the multiple packages where we can mimic lots of functions or lots of library, and we can do major problems or complicated problems with the R programming itself, so that there is no need to look for any alternative programming like Python or any programming. Within R itself you can solve major of the problems, so that it will be single-ended programming for you. And also there is a better graphics, as we discussed. Again, it is a very competitive with the best of the best graphic tools you have in the market, like the Tableau, and we can actually use the similar graphics we have it in the R programming. And it's the best data wrangling, because when you want to do the quick data analysis, so that can be kind of doing the missing data, that can be doing the data we have it for the data pre-processing or the data preparation, or if you want to find the null values, or if you want to replace any null values. So these kind of quick data wrangling, if you want to do for any given data point, we can R is very best to incorporate that techniques. And it is highly compatible. We have the different platforms, and R is definitely very easily compatible, whether if you're working on the Linux or Windows. If you're doing on the server based also, we can deploy this R in the server and you can work on the server. So like that, it is very compatible, and you can use this R programming. And it is a better reporting analysis, as because the most of the statistical analyst experts, they would prefer R programming, because the way it can able to mark down most of the things within the R programming, like the listing down the visualization graphs, or the listing down the major of the statistical analysis, and the kind of we have for the platform to reporting analysis. It is a very edge when compared to the Python or any programming we have it. And also we have the machine learning methods, as we discussed. Unlike any other platforms, we can use every kind of classification, regression techniques, and also we have the kind of text mining approaches. Even text mining is also possible with the R programming, where you can even work with the unstructured data. And so it is actually covering most of the machine learning methods, and they keep updating every now and then, and you can actually work with the particular libraries. And it's an edge for the data at the statistics. So the R was actually built majorly purpose for building most of the statistical problems. So definitely there is no other tool which can compete with the R programming when you come with the statistics, when you want to do any statistical analysis.